Hello Matthew, welcome in. Just leaving you with the shit copyright free dance music at the moment. We'll be on in a couple of gifs. Anyhow, Stephen, this is quick. Remember.
Hello and welcome on into Wednesday's edition of Movie News here at MBE. We'd just like to thank you once again for joining us here on our YouTube channel and of course our Twitch stream. I'm one of your co-hosts, Stephen John McLaughlin. Our other co-host
munching on salt and vinegar bits.
Jonathan Walsh. I'll be doing it in a minute, John, so pardon us, but we do like our nibbles.
They're very fucking
good.
And no better thing to eat as you get towed into an
I'm not on that. I've had my birthday beer and my birthday wine, so
I'm an alcoholic.
John, did you know I share the same birthday as Dana Scully, the actual character? 23rd of February. So
all good things come in February.
Because I noticed she was trending, I went, oh, what's this? Have we got another X-Files series coming on?
Elizabeth
Olsen. It wasn't.
They turned 33 the other day as well. And I had a sort of shared pain with her. Yeah. She's also in a much better place, Elizabeth. She's supremely rich. She's a Hollywood actress. Much better looking than me, it has to be said. I think few people would disagree with that. But she's 33, that's what I'm saying. She's
looking good.
Everyone that's born in February is fucking special. I'm telling you, everyone. Cristiano Ronaldo, Neymar, George Harrison, Kurt Cobain, and me, and you, of course.
Yep, and my daughter.
Yes, and she's the most special of us all.
But, John, we're talking about Obi Wan Kenobi.
Obi-Wan.
The TV series that is. It's coming
it
to
depends how big your pocketbook is.
Disney Plus this March. I don't know the exact date, can't remember.
Is
it March? It's March, isn't it?
It is March. It's May 25th.
It's May, sorry, I don't know where I get March
Stephen,
from.
May 25th.
Yeah, I knew there was something.
Of Lisbon.
Thank you, Scottish Midge. Thank you very much.
For you.
John, I think
Happy
we'll just do a
birthday.
sing song. Listen, we're not drunk, by the way.
It's Stephen's birthday today. I'll not give away his age because
it's 46.
I was about to say a man never shares his age.
Yeah.
He's 46 and I tell you he's looking fantastic for 46. I says to him the other day walking to the football, if I look half as good as you do in 13 years time, I will be fucking dancing.
4 years off the big 50, John. Can't believe it.
I know, Stephen.
That's a World Cup away. So
4 years is an eternity, Stephen. We've got Vladimir trying to kill us all just now, so
might not get there. So
yeah, I might not get there either. I don't care. I've got a longing to hear that nuclear siren. You know, I was just watching nuclear.
Maybe when you're 99, John, but not when you're 33. But we're talking about Obi Wan and we're talking about Ewan McGregor. We're actually going to be talking about quite a bit tonight. This is our only topic, folks, of tonight because we just felt something we've not really talked about other than when it was announced a couple of years ago at was it D23 or something? I can't remember. It's one of those things that when Kathleen Kennedy.
Call.
Yeah, that was exactly it, John. Yeah, Kathleen Kennedy and Ewan McGregor announced it.
Ewan
and
McGregor.
She was probably the best actor on the stage that night. She looked delighted about this series being released when I don't think she really wanted it. But
well, Stephen, you say that, but apparently the reason we're still waiting for this show to come out in 3 months' time is because of her. She actually stepped in and says, look, these scripts may be good, but they're not where they should be. We need this show to be better. And they took the break, they pushed it back to get it right. So look,
I'm concerned about that then.
No, but I mean, it may have just not have been what they've wanted. Maybe initially what they were looking for this TV show was that original vision of the screenwriter. But now that we're starting to create expanded universes, obviously not sharing that yet.
She has got previous tried to put
I don't
politics
think Ewan
in
would
place,
put his, I don't think Ewan, as esteemed an actor as he is, would allow his name to be besmirched by jumping into that. I think if he thought this ain't right for me, I think he'd walk, Stephen.
The reason we're talking about this as well, John, is of course the news
Big
today.
News,
Ian McDiarmid, and that's obviously why he's on the thumbnail.
Another good
also
Scotsman.
known as Emperor Palpatine, was quoted in saying this: I think I have to accept that thanks to my ungrateful granddaughter, my annihilation was finally final. But of course, Darth Vader is back in the new Obi Wan Kenobi television series, so I suppose it's not impossible that one day his mentor might be discovered once again skulking in the shadows. Now, he's obviously referring to he can go back the way and do some prequel stuff.
He's spoiling it there, Stephen.
Yeah, I don't know, John. I think most people are assuming Darth Vader, and we'll get into that in a moment. Actually, when I've actually broke it down into sections, what we're going to talk about.
You've got a nice, neat way of discussing this TV show.
I think when it was announced Hayden Christensen was going to appear, that's the natural assumption. I think maybe Ian is maybe assuming that as well. I hope so. I hope that's what he's doing, because I don't really want to know too much about the series. I know we're going to be talking about speculation more than anything, and some things that we would like to see and stuff like that. But John, when this was announced, I think it was 2 years ago now.
Yeah.
This was the one that we were all waiting for.
Still waiting in Andor. That was announced before this.
Yeah, but in terms of its form, before that announcement 2 years ago, we were all hoping for the movie, weren't we? Mm-hmm. That was the thing, because, you know, of the standalone a Star Wars story, if you want to call them that. We thought at some point
Rogue One.
Obi Wan would be one of them, but it wasn't to be.
Yeah, that was.
And then we thought for a little while, oh, that's it, then it's done. We're not going to see this, are we? Unless it's maybe in animated form, which we did kind of get anyway, obviously, in the Clone Wars, and I don't know if it was in Rebels or not. I can't remember. But
what was that? Sorry.
Obi-Wan, you know.
Obi-Wan was in Rebels for sure. Yeah, he had a great moment with Darth Maul in Rebels, an epic side shot. And Stephen, for me, summed up Filoni and his knowledge of Star Wars. We were getting into lightsaber forms, fighting techniques, something that what you can say about the prequel trilogy, what you want, the terrible dialogue, some of the horrendous CG, some of just the storytelling decisions, but the delving into the mythology, exploring the Jedi, hubristic though they were at that point, the different lightsaber fighting techniques, what he did with the Jedi in that trilogy, I loved that. I loved the fact that you had Count Dooku saying to Anakin, you may be good in your own head, but you've got a long way to come, boy, if you want to fight me and beat me. And the fact that we then see him fighting him again in Revenge of the Sith, and he's changed up his technique, he's learnt, and he's then able to defeat him. Filoni took that in Rebels, and just subtly, with a little move, he showed us that Obi-Wan had been studying Maul, knew he was out there, and he knew how to defeat him without even moving, really. And I loved that. That's what Star Wars is all about for me. Little details, picking up on it and carrying that over and making something bigger out of it. Stephen, that's what I've loved about the show that we've most recently had. Taking a side character, a set dressing, if you like, in Boba Fett, and making an entire show out of him. You could say, did they deserve it? Was the show a success? I spoke about it last night. Personally, I think it was. I liked it. And I like the direction I've took that character. You've got the likes of your Fennec, I've remembered the name. We're exploring things with a character that meant little in the original story. This is where Star Wars
But it gave
excels.
a platform for Ahsoka. Well,
it did, yeah.
she was kind of obviously in The Mandalorian, to be fair, but it gave us that platform to see what Luke was up to, his first student being Grogu, that kind of thing. So that's the kind of thing that I don't know if I'm going to expect too much of that in the Obi-Wan series. I think this is going to be more solid in terms of heavily focused on the main character. I don't think, well, it was obvious it wasn't too much on Boba Fett because we had 2 episodes that we wasn't fucking in it, but the thing is, I'm going to just kind of throw things at you, John, and you can give your thoughts and that kind of thing. I know that you're kind of semi-prepared, but we're
Steve,
talking
even
about,
if I'm not prepared, you know the level of thinking on my feet that I possess.
Yeah, you like to talk.
I had a career previously that required thinking on the feet, and the amount of times I was able to buff my way out of situations that were borderline Ricky Gervais extra-esque was remarkable. So I'm a quick thinker, so you'll do well to throw me under the bus.
You're the David Blaine of Drumzagard. But John,
or halfway, some would say no, Drumzagard.
Hayden
nudge, nudge, wink, wink, Matthew.
We were talking about a couple of minutes ago. How do you think he's going to be utilised in this series? Because this is something that I've gave sort of a lot of thought about, because when it was announced, people were naturally assuming it's going to be Vader. But do you think we're going to get the full Darth Vader suit in present time? Present time as in where Obi-Wan is. Obviously it's a long time ago, so it's not present time, but you know what I mean. Real time in the series, if you like. Or do you think it's going to be just Anakin flashbacks, or do you think it's going to be a bit of both?
Well, Stephen, I'll go to me first and foremost. I don't want to see Hayden Christensen in the Darth Vader suit again, because look, I love his performance as that character in the prequel trilogy. I think few people would argue that character looks so, that actor I should say, looks so out of place in that suit. It was no real. Now Hayden isn't a small man. He's about your height, Stephen.
Yeah.
He's about 6 foot.
But he's skinny.
He's skinny. David Prowse was 6'7", and he was wearing platform shoes that were propelling him up to about 7 foot near enough, and he was a big man. He was a bodybuilder.
Yep.
He wasn't an actor, so he looks so out of place. So if they're going to utilise Hayden in a Darth Vader setting, it would rub me up the wrong way right off the bat, because he'd have to be in the suit, or they'd have to do some sort of fucking Ryan Reynolds Free Guy trickery, superimposing his head on a much bigger body, because it makes no sense in terms of just evolving into that original trilogy, the character we've seen. And unless he was taking steroids in his fucking recovery program, we've seen Boba Fett in the Bacta tank. Maybe Hayden's Darth Vader character was absolutely fucking popping the tren in the Bacta tank and just juicing up to this monster we've seen. But in terms of visuals, continuity, I don't want to see Hayden in a Darth Vader suit. In terms of him playing the character, Steve, I wouldn't mind it. There's a lot of people get absolute raging boners. I'm going to say boner because Ralph Boner came in my head there for some reason. For the concept of Obi-Wan meeting Darth Vader again before the events of A New Hope. Because they go to that line, when I left, I was but the learner, now I am the master. I'm butchering that incidentally. Now I am the master. And they, in their astuteness, think that that is confirmation that they never met prior to that moment. Well, I call fucking bullshit on that, because this is a season, or a universe that has retconned Palpatine back into existence after he fell down a fucking ginormous shaft and the Death Star imploded with him on it. He survived that. They just said clones or whatever the fuck they did. So I see it in Darth Maul was hafted too and survived. So I see no reason why we can't retcon in a natural way some sort of interaction between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader into the universe in that period between the original trilogy and when this is set. Stephen, there's what I would like to see. I would personally like to see a tormented Obi-Wan, a tortured soul, because we didn't have enough time to delve into that in the movies. I always say this, man. Movies are short form, popcorn, flick sort of fare. That was a tongue twister and a half, which is impressive because I've been sipping this, man, and this is not weak beer. Let me tell you, 6.6, not strong either, but it's not weak.
Well, John, that kind of takes us into...
It's 2 hours, Stephen.
It takes us into my next point, what you just sort of touched on
bridge
there,
it,
in terms of the story plot. Now, obviously, we all know that the main plot is to protect Luke Skywalker, the young Luke Skywalker, and watch over him, I should say. That can't be the series. That's not interesting enough for me. No. Also restricts them where, you know, in terms of locations, which we'll get into shortly, but struggling to cope with the loss of Anakin to the dark side. I think someone made a fan-made trailer a couple of years ago, which was very impressive, using footage from other films that Ewan McGregor was in.
Stephen, I always go back to that Alec Guinness Homestead moment with Ben, and he's speaking to Luke, and the way they interspliced the stuff with the prequels, that gave great levity, great weight to the points he was trying to impress upon a young Luke. It really hit differently when you've seen it, and you've seen the performance he was given. Not a lot of information being gave to him, how he was able to imbue that
Alec
emotion.
Guinness.
Guinness,
it was amazing.
fucking incredible.
Fantastic.
He didn't have any real knowledge about what had came before, but when he's speaking about interactions with Anakin, he was a great pilot and a cunning warrior or something like that, and a great friend. You sensed they had that relationship, and just seeing it in the prequels, it was special for me. My dog's snoring as he's prone to do. But Stephen, sorry I cut you off here.
No, not at all. It's one of the things that that does concern me in terms of that meeting we see on the Death Star in A New Hope, when he does say that line.
Felt a presence I've not felt.
Yeah, since and then he wanders off.
Didn't say since Mustafa
but
when I was
it's the line you said about I was but the learner. Now, I could kind of buy that when it's episode 3 and Obi-Wan is the master and Revenge of the Sith schools him at the end.
Absolutely.
But at that point, I don't know. I think they have to retcon some of the stuff. I think to make it fit. I think they have to be maybe from a certain point of view. I think it's going to have to be one of those ones. But I think a bit of both. I actually don't mind the suit thing if they get a body double in to do the Vader stuff. I mean,
we've seen it with Robert Pattinson, his body double in the Batman, and he was frequenting Glasgow.
You might see, we kind of got a glimpse of it. I know they just used those prosthetic casts or whatever they use, Hayden Christensen's for Rogue One. We didn't get to see the face, but it was clearly his body they used for that Bacta tank scene. We might get a bit of that as well, which I think would hit home the horrendousness of his body condition at that point. I think as well that we might see it in Obi-Wan's nightmares, because I think he is struggling mentally.
It really just depends, Stephen, where this show takes off, what the timeline is, where they're going with it. If it's very quick after the events of Mustafa, when he's just brought Luke to the Lars homestead,
I think it's maybe...
If there's not much time transpired,
there's rumours,
then...
John, about a young actress playing Leia, and she looks about maybe 7 or 8.
So that's quite a jump.
About 7 or 8 years after Revenge of the...
Well, I was thinking that if it wasn't much of a jump, then we'd see Anakin's sort of healing process and all its gory details, because he wasn't completely healed.
No.
By the point we see him shouting, "No, where is she? No!" That terrible, albeit it was. That wasn't him healed. That was just him in the very formative stages of wearing the suit. It was obviously paining him. Yeah. That's something I loved as well with the novels. They really did go into great detail about how that suit was for him. It really pained him. It wasn't a nice existence. So I think he was ready to give up at the end.
Yeah.
He was
still
fed
getting
up.
treatment in the Empire Strikes Back, wasn't he? You know, he was still having to do meditation and stuff like that.
We could delve into that, Stephen, if it's not long a jump. You could see what we've seen in the likes of Rogue One. Was it Rogue One? Where he's in the back to tank the moment you were mentioning. You could see that. That's how you could maybe bring him into the TV show. It really just depends on what the plans are, Stephen. Is this a 6-episode effort, one and done, and then we're done with the story of Obi-Wan? Because it really have to pack a punch, and you couldn't really linger too long. You'd have to be quite succinct with what you're doing with the characters.
Episodes.
Yeah, but if it's hour long, you've got a 6-hour journey with this
like
character.
3 movies, really, isn't it?
It is, yeah,
it's
which
like
is what I fucking love, Stephen. This is why I love TV.
Yeah.
And it's where Star Wars belongs. You've got a different way of telling a story. You can really marinate with the characters, and I can't think of a better character and a better timeline to marinate with, aside from Luke Skywalker maybe, than Obi Wan Kenobi, and where he is. I'm personally with you, Steve. I don't mind seeing Vader, but I'd love to see Hayden as Anakin getting to maybe exercise some of the demons from the prequels, have some moments, and maybe be tormenting Obi-Wan, because he also killed him. You were my brother, Anakin.
Yeah, I loved you.
I loved you. I mean, we laugh about it,
No.
but look, that was still some of the most powerful acting in that prequel trilogy, man. Look, Ewan and Ian, I'm talking as if they're my best pals from Scotland. Ewan and Ian, my best buds. They fucking
Persia,
saved that. They nearly saved that trilogy, Stephen.
Yeah.
Are they from Persia? Yeah, I think
Persia.
Persia.
Yeah.
Ewan's from Persia. Is Ian from there? I think he's from Persia.
Carnoustie, I think.
He's down
from.
right about that way, yeah. Is that down there, or is that up at St Andrews?
Up the way, yeah.
Yeah.
But 2 established actors, John. You
Steve,
can't...
Steve, would you like to see that? Would you like, because you touched upon it, there was sort of fan-made stuff going on trailers. Do you want to see them going down that sort of tormented soul route with Obi-Wan? Because that would give Ewan something to really get his teeth into and act. Because we know he's a great actor. This is a guy who was acting to tennis balls.
I think if it's 6-7 years after the events of Revenge of the Sith, then it would make sense that he's still tormented.
It's PTSD.
He's not so much in the New Hope era, which is like 18, 19 years after. He seems to
that would allude to maybe
probably he's got over it, but he's conditioned himself.
And Stephen, he's aware at that point that he's more machine now than man.
Yeah.
So he's aware. That would suggest that he's either had an interaction, he's seen him from afar, there's something happened. He is aware of how Vader is. He knows in his mind his friend is long gone. He was killed and betrayed by Darth Vader. So Vader betrayed and killed your father. So that's alluding.
You have to remember the galaxy doesn't know that Anakin Skywalker is Darth Vader as well.
Well, there's only a few, few people who know.
They know that, yeah.
The inner circle,
John,
if you like.
We've talked about, obviously, Ian, we've talked about Hayden. Now, in terms of...
Have we talked about Ian? Do you want to see the Emperor in this? That's something we've not really brushed upon briefly.
I don't mind it, John. It depends on how they utilise Darth Vader. And if they're going to have the Emperor in any sort of form, I prefer it being like a hologram. I don't really want to
see again, Stephen,
because it's not about him, to be honest with you. This series is about Obi-Wan.
Aren't you? And again, if it's 6 and done, then you don't want to be.
I don't mind a little appearance to the way they did Luke in Mandalorian season 2, that kind of thing.
Well, it's funny, Steve, because I knew we were speaking about this TV show tonight, and I was looking up some little things to maybe think, well, that's something we could maybe touch upon. And there was an article, I didn't read it, but it basically says ways in which Obi-Wan Kenobi series can fail to fall down the pitfalls of Book of Boba Fett. And one of the pitfalls people keep alluding to is that there wasn't a compelling enough primary character. We needed the sidekicks, we needed all these fucking things going on as a distraction. Oh, there's Luke, oh, there's Grogu, oh, there's the Mandalorian, we'll just give a whole episode to him. I think you'd be going down that path, man, if you're bringing in the likes of the Emperor and the meaty role.
Yeah,
you're taking away from what the main point is. It's about Obi-Wan Kenobi. Exactly. We lost our way 4 or 5 episodes into the Book of Boba Fett, and it felt like it wasn't even it wasn't about Boba Fett anymore. To the point where when he came back in, I'm like, oh fuck, we're back to this guy.
Yeah, I know.
So I want the Mando, wee cool little Naboo starfighter. I want to see Grogu fucking eating turtles on that planet.
The sort of screen time that the Mandalorian had in the Book of Boba Fett was more interesting in terms of what he was doing.
It was, yeah. You're talking
about, visiting. I don't even know what planet that was.
I don't. I'd love to know what planet that was. That's a place I'd love to live. I'm not going to lie.
The obviously the starfighter
lady.
Yeah, lady as well.
Yeah, Leo Sayre.
Yeah, Leo Sayre. It just seemed more compelling than what was happening with Boba Fett. Boba Fett's was more a sort of slow burn, and it was like a chess game, all the sort of pieces in place. But I tell you, it wasn't interesting enough for me.
Can I tell you a circumstance in which I'd like to see the Emperor coming into this TV show, Stephen? Something I would like quite a bit. As someone who, I'll go to me briefly. Don't want to look at my face too long though. It's not a pretty sight these days. Age has had its way with me in more ways than one. But Stephen, I read Claudia Gray's Lost Stars. I'm pretty sure that was the name of the novel. It's been a while now. I was probably still in my 20s when that came out. Fucking God, I cry for my 20s. They were better days. But they really did do a great job of, I'm pretty sure, was it that, or was it it wasn't that novel, it was the one about Darth Vader. There was a Darth Vader novel where he crashed, maybe even on the moon planet of Endor, with the Emperor. And it was a great little short novel, and it delved into the relationship between the Emperor and Darth Vader, the power struggle. It wasn't as nice and subservient as you'd think, Stephen. There was a real bickering, there was real mental warfare going on between these two characters. There was always this gnawing idea at the back of the Emperor's head that Vader was going to want to take him down and kill him, maybe stab him in the back at some point and take his seat as the main man in the Sith. This is a way you could maybe delve into this character in this show, and again, you're getting sidetracked to Obi Wan Kenobi. This could be a fucking show in its own right. Maybe Obi-Wan trying to, even at that point, 6-7 years on, save his brother from the horrible situation he's in. Maybe he could sense like Luke at one point that there was still good in him, and he was maybe going off and try to save him, maybe save the lunacy we get later on with the death of Alderaan and stuff like that. How you could do that is maybe him going to save him, and we get an insight into this fucking maniacal relationship where Vader lusts for power, wants to actually overthrow the Emperor, but also is in some ways in awe of him and subservient. That's a way you could maybe introduce the character, and I think it would maybe work.
Very interesting as well.
That book's great, by the way. It was very short. It's a brilliant book, man.
I do want to see Obi-Wan taunt Anakin in a way where he is call him Darth, the way he did in A New Hope.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, at that time they weren't thinking Darth was actually a title. It was his first name at that point, which was mental. But I would like to see him do that taunt again, as if, you Darth, you're one of them.
You're Anakin, mate.
No, John,
you know what?
We talked about Tatooine there, and we're going to talk about locations next, because this seems to be a big bugbear with a lot of people in terms of the Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett. Can't let the Mandalorian slip as well, because they did spend a lot of time. It was
like Bastard and Albert Square in Mos Eisley.
In
that first season.
Do you think we will stay on Tatooine? Now, we know obviously the protection of Luke is the main goal for Obi-Wan in that period, but
he did help us.
The downside to that is we did that mostly obviously in the Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett. Will Obi-Wan visit Alderaan to see Leia, perhaps a young Leia, because there is rumours they are casting a young Leia, so it would make sense. And it obviously kind of form that relationship that we never really got to see with Obi-Wan and Leia. Although they knew each other, and there was little hints in Rogue One, we never really got to see much interaction. I don't think we got any interaction, actually.
We didn't, no.
I think at the time he popped his clogs, she was back on the Millennium Falcon.
Busy fighting some sort of fucking, I don't know what you'd call it, sewage monster with that big foam piece of metal.
So I don't think they didn't have screen time. That's unbelievable when you think about
it.
Didn't,
no.
But I think it would be very interesting. I think it would give both characters another dimension as well.
And it kind of ties in with that, Stephen. There, that's another sort of announcement that Jimmy Smits is coming back as Bail Organa in this TV show. Personally, Stephen, I would love them to get the fuck away from Tatooine. I love Tatooine, man. I'm not going to lie. Yeah. One of my sort of formative memories.
It's cheap to film there.
It is cheap to film there, and I'm sure wherever it is they go, is it Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, they'll do a deal.
It used to be
it was Tunisia,
or Tunisia, as the Americans say. Yeah,
it's Tunisia. Look, you can take our language, but please don't fucking butcher it into some Frankenstein's monster. We've gave you it for free, and I say we because look, Scottish, as we say it, the way we speak Scots, lower Scots, is English in its purest form. I keep saying this. A lot of the world can't understand us. We're going off on a tangent, but it's only brief. we are speaking English in its purest form. It's right at the Germanic roots of the language. So I keep saying it, and I'm going to say it again. To those people that say, I can't understand you, can't understand what you're saying, fuck off. Saying. Fuck off. We're speaking it in its purest form. Stephen, I'd love to see us leave Tatooine. I can't see another TV show spending 6 episodes on Tatooine. As cool as it was in my formative years growing up, I fell in love with Star Wars, Luke Skywalker. It was the sight of the Jawas, R2 and C-3PO going through the dunes. That lovely shot of Luke sort of jumping down into this cutaway section and having these moments with obviously R2-D2 and then finally seeing the princess and then whisking him off into this adventure we love. I love the planet. And even the prequels, still quite young. Well, no doubt about it. I was fucking young. It was 99. I was 10. I love the Phantom Menace, man. I do have a soft spot for it. I love the pod race. That's the Boon of Evil, so that's in Beggar's Canyon, stuff like that. There's something about the planet. There's a magic about that planet. The dual sunset, the stars, the lovely blue sky. But there's sometimes too much of a good thing. Yeah. And I think we're reaching that. We've had 2 shows that have been primarily set in Tatooine. It's time to get the fuck off of Tatooine. And it's a strange notion because it is Obi Wan. He is looking after Luke. Yep. It is on Tatooine. But that doesn't mean he has to stay in Tatooine the entire show. He was a youngish man at this point, probably in his 30s, 40s. Still young. He had to get out and get about. I was about to get some there, but maybe he did get some. We'll get into that. A lot of rumours that he was Rey's father for a long time.
Yeah.
Stephen, just because his mate, I know, fuck, it would have been better. It made sense because he's saying, Rey, these are your first steps. Didn't know Rey.
Yeah.
Was he communicating with her? If he was her father.
Because she was all Jedi.
Yes, I know. Yes, she was all Jedi. Fucking terrible. She's terrible. Terrible. We'll not bog it down though. We get into the negatives of the sequel trilogy.
Jimmy Smits though, John.
Stephen, I'd love to see us leave Tatooine. That's what I'm saying, man. It doesn't have to be bogged down with this mission of protecting Luke. You've got Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru there. They're protected. And Stephen, we kind of established that Jedi can switch off from the Force. Luke did switch off from the Force in his later years. Luke didn't really have any connection to the Force. He really awoken within him in A New Hope. So I don't think Vader would have been aware of his whereabouts. So he could have just sat there as a little kid, sad though it is, stuck with these 2
with the same surname.
Fucking weirdos. I know the same surname, yeah, I know. Didn't think it out, did they?
Well, the place that Anakin knew about in Tatooine.
I know. But Steve, Obi-Wan was smart. He knew that
too obvious.
Anakin hated sand. Yeah. It got everywhere. It was coarse. And that he wouldn't go back there because there was too much pain there. He lost his mother there. He came to terms with the planet. He left it the moment he killed them like animals. They were animals, so I killed them like animals. I fucking love that scene. Love it. Stephen, Jimmy Smits. I'd love to go to Alderaan. I would love to go to Alderaan. Yeah. We get a tantalising look at Alderaan. Very tantalising. At the end of it. Did we not see it in another thing as well? Did we?
Unless it was in an animated show.
May have been. Revenge of the Sith. It was Revenge of the Sith. He landed, didn't he? Leia. Yeah. I'd love to see that planet. Because it's now in the history books of Star Wars. We can't go there now. So if you're going to go back to the past, you can go there.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're bringing Smits in. I mean, that is his planet.
Yeah. John, I was really happy to see him in Rogue One. It tied things in for me. Because I felt that, at a point, I was very relieved that Star Wars were doing something a little bit more separate. Although the storyline was connected to sort of front end of A New Hope, with all these fresh characters coming in that we never knew. We only ever heard about that band of rebels that stole the plans. We were introduced to them, but it was nice to have that bit of familiarity. I've been drinking, so it's a hard word.
It's a hard word
exactly.
To say at the best of
so to have Jimmy Smits come in was a nice surprise. Mon Mothma as well, the actor.
Is she back, do you think?
No, I don't know. I don't think so.
Cut it, don't you know?
I think I hope they kind of keep the politics out of this series, to be honest with you, John. But Jimmy Smits, it would make sense, but then that would definitely confirm that a young Leia is going to be in it. I think there is going to be a young Leia. If there's going to be a young Luke, I think there'll be a young Leia.
That kind of confirms there's going to be Alderaan.
Mustafa
would be fantastic as well.
I think it would make sense if we're going to have Hayden Christensen in there. That's where he spent a lot of time.
That's where Vader's castle was. Yes, he built a castle in the site where he, in a sense, became Vader. But again, Stephen, that plays into the character well. That's something George did do well. This was a character that he had a strong connection to places where there was tragedy. He was obviously, his childhood was a tragedy. He had no father figure. He was buffing the Force now, I think it seems, with Palpatine. That's apparently what happened now.
Okay.
So he had this strange connection. It died when his mother obviously passed away at the hands of the Tusken Raiders. Sand people, as I call them. So it kind of is in fitting with the character.
Yeah.
He's a weird beast. He likes to linger in places. But I'd love to go to Mustafar as well. I love Mustafar.
Yeah.
I thought it was very, very fucking
I
cool.
never made the connection at the start of The Rise of Skywalker that's where Kylo Ren was at the very beginning. That was actually Mustafar. It was confirmed later on.
They should have done what they did in Rogue One then, and gave us titles for every planet they went to. Mind they jumped to about 10 planets.
Well, they did that in the first 5 minutes of The Rise of Skywalker as well.
Yeah.
Where he went to that
jungle sort of planet, forest.
Wiped them out. Yeah, then he went to the place where the Emperor was hiding. What's that called again? Can't remember that planet. Can't remember.
Begins with a V, doesn't it?
It was terrible. It was just...
Stephen, I blanked The Rise of Skywalker out my head.
I'm having flashbacks.
Told you,
that's
man,
why I'm blanking in the name.
It's expensive fan fiction. It doesn't exist. Load of shite.
Yeah. There you go.
George didn't do it, so it's not real.
That's your Rotten Tomatoes review there. A load of shite.
Load of shit. See, I feel there's a niche, or a niche, as the Yanks would say.
Twitter review, 49 characters.
Yeah. I mean, there's people do it in less. It's like fucking 5 words. I think if you have a YouTube channel, what's your thoughts on this fucking shite?
I think your dad would...
He'd be brilliant, my dad. Yeah, that's my dad. Yeah. My dad watches more movies than me, and he's a lot more succinct.
He'll give you an honest
more succinct.
It, yeah.
Sometimes it's not an answer that I would agree with, but very succinct in his thoughts. I think
the other character, John, that we haven't touched on yet is Qui-Gon Jin. Do you think that perhaps we might get a ghost form? Liam Neeson, of course.
I was that close to putting Qui-Gon in the thumbnail, because there's a concept art of Obi Wan meditating on a plane in Tatooine, and Qui-Gon and Ghost.
I always felt they missed a trick in Revenge of the Sith, not having Liam Neeson come back. Yeah. And I heard that they were that close to doing the scene. It was just briefly when I think Obi-Wan comes into the room and it looks like Yoda has been meditating and he's just had a conversation with Qui-Gon Jinn, but we never got to get to see it.
I'd love to see Qui-Gon in this. I love Liam Neeson. I think you can say what you want about some of the jokes and stuff and the memes about a particular set of skills. I'll find you and I will kill you. This is a sort of joke. He's Northern Irish accent. It's everywhere. Even when he plays a German saviour of the Jews in Schindler's List.
Amusing.
He's got a Northern Irish accent. But he is a great actor, Stephen, and that was a great character. I was actually looking up that character recently as well, because I was looking at his beard game. He had a very strange beard. Liam, it was very long.
It was very sticky
the sort of goatee area and very short, and the sort of...
It made his chin area. Really protrude,
But that was what they were looking for. It was a sort of Japanese, I'd imagine. You know, I'm talking about this sort of samurai style, if you like. I think that's what they were going for. George was always obsessed with that. I think it was a specific Japanese director that he was really a concept he really connected with, and he based the whole Jedi thing on that. You wouldn't be allowed to do that these days. That'd be called cultural appropriation. But sometimes you're allowed to be inspired by other cultures. That person I know you love, the likes of Bruce Lee and that whole mantra that he was after. That's the guy there, Akira Kurosawa. That was the guy that George really looked up to. He loved him. So I think that was deliberate with George. I think that's what Qui-Gon was supposed to be. I don't think it was supposed to be like a Japanese character.
Vader's helmet is
that was a sort of samurai thing. I think he was supposed to be a Japanese character. I mean, obviously there's a lot of Japanese inspiration there. Obi-Wan, I mean, it's basically a Japanese name. Qui-Gon, very heavily inspired.
When he was doing that kind of sort of pigeonhole nationalities,
that was ridiculous.
It totally wrong. And the
there's no need for that, Steve.
Very offensive as well, but
I'd love to see the character come back. I think it makes sense. He had a strong connection with Obi-Wan. He was his Padawan that was a master. They had that relationship, and you could see the loss. It really struck him.
In physical form or audio, John?
No, you could have him in Force Ghost form if you really want, but it could just be audio.
I mean,
it could be audio.
When I say physical form, I actually mean ghost form, like as you can see him in front of you.
It could be audio, because we kind of established that with Obi-Wan. You never really seen him, and you did see him, but I mean the first time he was connecting with Luke, it was audio, wasn't it? It was on Dagobah, on Hoth. You must go to Dagobah. Oh, it was, yes, you're right,
Use the Force,
Luke. Of course it was, for fuck's sake, when he actually blows it up.
First.
And it was audio, so that's established. I don't know how you make it work, but I'd like to see the character. It'd be a good nod. Stephen, what I'll say about Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau and this sort of current crop that seem to be heading the TV content at Lucasfilm, they are making bridges with the prequels. It was an embarrassment for a long time. This will begin to make things right. Well, it didn't. It wasn't down to Max von Sydow, the great, but it didn't make it right. It made it worse. they're starting to make bridges with it. It's part of the fucking world. Let's not forget about it. So it makes sense.
That brings us on to my sort of last section here, John, in terms of the legacy. And the Book of Boba Fett and the Mandalorian have got that little bit more freedom because they're characters that haven't really been delved into, whereas Obi-Wan is the sort of first one we're delving into in a television series that had a massive effect in the prequel trilogy and had a massive influence on the original trilogy as well. Its legacy, John, what will this series affect in its legacy being on the prequel and the original trilogies in your view?
Well, it's always precarious, Stephen, when you have a character of that nature who's been hugely influential in multiple generations' lives, and you take that character and you embellish it further in a time zone we've not yet explored, because if you get it wrong, it can completely fucking destroy how you portray, you view that character forever.
Yep.
A lot of people get that with Luke and Leia. They can't look at those characters the same way. Maybe even Han Solo, but Han Solo got off very well. He hit off well, I should say. He got off lightly. In the sequel trilogy, he was one and done, and he was the standout character in that movie, I would say, alongside Finn. So a lot of people make that connection. They've ruined my childhood, and people laugh at that. What do you mean they've ruined your childhood? Some people who are not a fan of Star Wars don't really understand the sheer connection people have. Even with Star Trek as well, there's people, Leonard Nimoy spoke about it, people coming up to him and saying, I'm a scientist now, I work in medicine because of that character.
Yeah.
That's the impact these characters have on people. It shapes their lives. So when you do something that's very dangerous, if you're taking that character and you're going off and doing new stuff with it, you have to get the balance absolutely right.
That's why I think there's a bigger gamble in this series than there is in the Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett.
Well, Mandalorian was an all-new character, so you've got the freedom. You can do whatever you want with that character. It either hits off or it's a failure. Either way, it's not going to really shape the enjoyment you have for previous stuff.
No.
Boba Fett, we spoke about it, Stephen, well I did at least, he was almost set dressing for me. A cool looking character. Undeniable, Slave One, unbelievable.
Yep.
Part of the sort of cool fucking gallery of rogues that George created in that
Hot
original
toys,
trilogy.
yeah.
But again, you take him off, it doesn't really matter, man. He was dead and buried. There was no future for that character. A lot of people wouldn't even have thought of a future. He was dead in the Sarlacc pit, that was it. You take him, you give him a sort of Lazarus treatment, rebuff him. You can do what you want with the character. I personally enjoyed it. It's gave it new life.
Yep.
We're in a new place with it, and you're giving Tamura Morrison something really meaty to get his teeth into for the next 5-10 years maybe. But with Obi-Wan, it's a different beast because it's the great Alec Guinness, and he is great. One of the great exports from Britain. Truly great actors. He left his touch in the original trilogy. For me, arguably one of my favourite characters outside of Luke. I always quote him. Absolutely obsessed with the guy's intonation. Stephen, he's one of those guys, man. You see him when the likes of Parkinson's I was about to say Parkinson's, that's a fucking disease. Michael Parkinson.
Yeah, Michael, yeah.
And you can listen to the guy talking for hours, man.
Yeah.
He had that way about him, just captivating speaker. When you're dealing with that guy's legacy, you need to get it right. And then you've got Ewan, he came in, I thought he'd done a great job in the prequel trilogy.
Big shoes to fill, yeah.
Big shoes to fill. Never really sounded like how Alec Guinness sounded. I don't know what the fuck he was doing with that accent. It wasn't Scottish, it wasn't English, it was like David Tennant's Doctor Who. Some bastardised middle ground. But he done a good enough job. I thought he was one of the standouts. I'm doing the sort of Tony Blair thing here, sort of politician thing. He done a good enough job. I thought, so you have to get that balance right. The legacy of that character is momentous. And where they take that character, I thought Rogue One was brilliant the way they bridged these sort of two universes, the prequel trilogy into the original trilogy. I thought they get the balance right with that. To me, that's still the best movie that Disney have created in the Star Wars universe. That's what you've got to do. You've got to cast correctly, get the balance right. And Stephen, you look at the cast, I was going to get into the cast. They've also
doing a limited series as well, John.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly.
You know, everything hinges on this series doing well, working.
Well, 6 episodes. We know for a fact it's 6 episodes.
Yeah.
So if it's potentially at a minimum 6 episodes to get this story told and get it right and not destroy the legacy of one of the great Star Wars characters. So it's fucking tough ask. I think it's Deborah Chow who's doing it.
Yeah.
Already worked in The Mandalorian. Good director, I think.
Yeah.
Look at that cast. Camille Nanjiani, he's a fucking tour de force, this guy. Completely transformed his body. Very funny guy. Charismatic. Hayden Christensen's coming back. Chance to deal with the demons of Star Wars past. Apparently in 6 episodes.
Yeah.
I think that's a spoiler, potentially. Joel Edgerton comes back. I love Joel Edgerton.
Yeah, that's a great one.
And Owen Lars is a fucking... He was a shit kicker. I hated him in the original trilogy, but chance to maybe make that character likeable. Maybe he saves Luke from fucking death, and that's why he's got that connection. What they
did with the Sand People and the Book of Boba Fett, they kind of did change people's viewpoint on them. Yeah. They weren't just these arsewipes in the desert trying to cause trouble all the time. They had, they were people. They were trying to live their lives. It was their land, and that kind of thing. And I don't think they'll go that deep with Von Clone, but I think in terms of the perception of them, it's very important that they get that right as well. Yes. And why Owen is the way he is with Luke as well, that overprotective nature.
Yes, yeah, that could completely transform that relationship, Stephen. This is what you've got the power to do with this TV show. It can really make you look at what happened in that original trilogy in a completely different light. It has the power to make it a more enriched and enjoyable experience, but at the same time, it could completely fucking destroy it.
What's that?
As well, if you don't get it right. But Stephen, it's a great cast, man. They put together Benny Safdie's in there. Is that one of the Safdie brothers? The director? Surely not. It's not. It is?
Is it?
It's one of the fucking Safdie brothers acting in this TV show. Fucking great directors. I don't know about acting. Maya Erskine's in there, obviously born of Peace comes in as Beru.
Yeah, she was in the prequel.
Beru.
So it's
the same. I can't even speak.
It's the same actor that played Beru, yeah.
Lay off that fucking drink, man.
Yeah.
Beru Lars. Sung Kang is in there, obviously famed as playing Han in the Fast and Furious franchise. What I'm saying is, I'm not going to get bogged down by cast, but there's a good cast here. We've got the sort of core acting talent there to make something special happen here, and obviously before Ewan McGregor up there.
John, we touched on it on Monday's show as well. It was announced, obviously, John Williams, who's just turned 90, is going to be covering the score for this television series as well.
It's a special moment.
It is, yeah. I mean, obviously the composers for the two series, it's been fantastic. It's been something
it was
new as well.
Gordonson, and then I can't recall who done Book of Boba Fett, but it was decent.
Yeah, it was, but it gave a new spin as well. It gave some sort of freshness to the scores with some familiar themes in there as well. But bringing John Williams back for this character, it's a match made in heaven, isn't it?
What is he, 90?
Yeah.
Shame you're not going to get much more from this guy.
John, we were saying that at the prequels.
We were.
And then he did the sequels.
And apparently hanged up the sort of conductor thing. Stick.
Yeah,
hung up his conductor. Can you hang that up? I don't know. Is there something you can put
that
on?
Hook, yeah.
Yeah, you can just hang it somewhere, hung it somewhere. Hung the. Steve, it's always special when you've got John Williams working on anything. This guy is, for me, alongside Silvestri, maybe your Thomas Newmans and stuff. I'm not going to put Thomas Newman in the same breath as John Williams. I take that back right away. There's a very small group of composers that can hang with him. For me, he's the greatest.
He is.
He's just touched upon so many fantastic franchises. Harry Potter, Star Wars,
Indiana Jones,
Jaws,
Jurassic
Home Alone.
Park.
Did the Home Alone stuff.
Yeah.
Just, this guy's my childhood. I grew up listening to this guy's scores. E.T. I grew up with this guy's music in my ears. Home Alone's fucking amazing. I love that score. Superman. So this guy has been a continuous presence over the last 4 or 5 decades, involved in huge hits. To have his steady hand in there composing, I says it the other day when we spoke about it, he must see something special in there that's drawing him out. He must have seen, he has to have access to some of the stuff that's been shot, but he can't compose it for fuck's sake. So he must like it, and that's what's drawing him out. So that gives me confidence.
Yeah.
In this TV show, what they've got there, if you're getting the great John Williams on board composing. But fundamentally, Stephen, I just am extremely excited for this TV show. This is probably my most anticipated TV show of the year.
I can't wait till we do the watch-alongs for this as well. The excitement. You see your excitement if you watch your watch-alongs.
Stephen, it's a Star Wars fandom. We often get stick, very divisive, can be quite toxic at times.
Yep.
But I don't think that is toxicity for the toxicity sake, if you like. This is toxicity because people are very passionate about these characters, are passionate about the direction and the future of this franchise, be it in TV or be it in movie. They're passionate to a fault, and sometimes that can be mistaken for toxicity, and I'm just going to keep saying it because it's a hard fucking word to say.
I'm not even attempting it tonight.
So I think the fandom are willing this character onto something special. I think the fandom love Ewan McGregor and what he gave to this character in the prequel trilogy, and they wish nothing but the best for this fucking character moving forward. I want this to be an absolute success. I think the fandom deserves it, personally, and hopefully this can begin to make things right, to quote Max von Sydow. I'm fucking certainly very excited for it.
Yeah.
Hopefully the Lord of the Rings TV show is very good as well. Oh, apparently there's blowback against that. I can't really see why. It looks like an epic spectacle. A lot of money being spent in it, but that's a whole other show.
Casting seems to be an issue with some people.
Oh really?
Visual seems to be I didn't see
the
it.
casting. Is it? Let me guess. Is it because we're getting a black elf?
Probably, John.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
It's the 21st century, guys. You need to move into it. J.R.R. wrote these characters 70 years ago. That was 70 years ago, man. Well, not 70 years ago now, although Boris Johnson, Jacob Rees-Mogg, all these fucking queer-hot Tory millionaires that are in the cabinet and governance in this country, they would have us get back 170 years. Thankfully, they've not got a time machine though, so we're very much in the 21st century and they can go and fuck themselves. But I digress. I'm excited about it anyway. I don't know if you got anything else to say. Are you excited about this TV show? Where would you rate this? Because there's potentially a lot of very big TV shows coming out this year. You've got like a She-Hulk. I don't know why I picked that. That's just random.
Didn't even know that was coming out.
She-Hulk, Miss Marvel.
We didn't watch along for that.
If it's good, I might. Apparently Bruce Banner's going to be in there. That's good enough reason for me. Mark Ruffalo. What else is coming out this year, man? We've got loads coming out, surely. Surely we're going to get a Mandalorian season 3 at the end of this year. Lots coming out in terms of TV to be excited about. Potentially Mars Report coming out at some point. For me, this is my most anticipated TV show of the year. I cannot wait to see it. But I'm done speaking about it. It's been a good innings, hasn't it? I want to see
50 odd minutes,
50 odd minutes. Wow.
Maybe trim 6 off that because we didn't start right away.
Yeah, we were listening to shite music and critiquing a certain football club's home kits for the last 30 years. There's been, and away kits, because there's been some fucking absolute corkers and some absolute howlers. But look, man, let's go around that. What's your thoughts on Obi-Wan? We just felt compelled to talk about this. It's not long ago now. It's only 3 months until this TV show comes out. See what you did there, Steve? Is that a playback to Tannadice there? What was it? Oh, I mean, that was at least 14 years ago, and I remember that like it was yesterday. What an absolute goon that guy was. What's your thoughts on Obi-Wan? Are you excited for it? What is your sort of expectations for this TV show? Where do you see them going? Do you think we'll stay in Tatooine? Do you think we maybe wished off to fantastical worlds? Will we go to Alderaan? Will we see Leia in there? Will we see the Emperor coming in? You can share your thoughts down below if you've got anything to say about that. Your anticipation, general thoughts on what we discussed at all can go down below in the comment section. You can also like the video if you've enjoyed it. If you've hated it, you can dislike it, but it will be gobbled up with a big capitalised dislike button that nobody will be able to fucking see. So it's a wasted click. But not wasted for us because it will still draw traffic to our channel. So you can do that if you want. We don't care. Fundamentally though, you should subscribe to the channel. That's the most important thing you can do. Hit the bell icon to get notifications straight to your eyeballs for stuff like this. Watch alongs, reactions. We do it all on here. We do everything but fucking get up and dance on here. And sometimes we even do that sitting down. So if you want to see that, stick around for it. And the best way to do that is to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon on here. You probably won't get the dancing over on Twitch, but you can still hit the follow button anyway over there because that'll allow you to see live content. Regardless of what you do though, thank you once again for watching and listening to our gibbering. Primarily my gibbering, because Stephen doesn't gibber as much as I do. And until the next time, me and Stephen are done. Bye-bye. It's not hard. There you go. I need to get an end screen graphic for that scene.